All right, welcome to the Legendary Upside YouTube channel. My name is Pat Crane. Follow all of my content at legendaryupside.com. With a new day, Christian Hellmers, Raw or Die. We're going to be doing a DraftKings Best Ball draft as part of DraftKings Best Ball Week, being a DK Best Ball partner, as I am. Christian, how's it going?
I'm good, man. It's nice to meet a future horse player. I think
Yeah.
I hope I can inspire you to play the ponies at some point in your life. We'll see.
Well, so we actually hung out recently at Del Mar out here in San Diego, and didn't bet a single race. I was like, all right, I'm hanging out at the track, probably get some action down. You're telling me the favorite moment of the afternoon was we looked at the horses, we watched them kind of do their little parade thing, and we're both kind of like, oh, the 3 horse looks good, and you had like actual information that backed up the 3 being a good play. And we're like, all right, 3. I think 3's looking pretty good. I go, when does this race start? You go, in about 10 seconds. So we did not get a bet in on that horse or any others.
It's kind of like drafting. You get that 20-second, time on the clock, and sometimes they pass you by. And I enjoyed kind of walking you through the overview of what I consider the thinking man's lottery, but fantasy football is truly the thinking man's lottery. And it's like trying to architect a way to get to like probabilities. And that's when it was fun slicing and dicing and showing you that some of these favorites were vulnerable and then them losing, but also not having the conviction to throw cash down. It shows you my discipline. I'm usually pretty disciplined, but sorry.
Yeah, it was a cool process because you're like, all right, so this favorite's weak, but now I got to find a horse that's a good bet, and we didn't have one, so we didn't bet it. But yeah, it was a fun time, and you were telling me about what you're doing best ball wise. Do you kind of want to share like what? So out of this 3 spot that we have here, is there anything you're tending to do there?
Yeah. So overall, like I have a pretty unique strategy right now. Again, the best way to win is following ADP. But in this situation, in this draft, there's so many hundreds of thousands of players. I'm going to say, let's be bold and take Puka Nacua at 3.
Okay.
And the reason I say that is clearly Puka Nacua is on average not going to score more than, any of these other guys. So I pose you the question, how many times out of 100 do you think that he could potentially score more than 18 points, like on average, like this season?
More than 18 points?
Yeah,
I don't
like
know.
Having a tier 1, like legit tier 1 where he's competing with some of the other guys at the top.
Pretty high. There's a pretty high percentage chance of that. I mean, I'd say like 33%.
Okay. Wow. That's actually kind of the ratio of the favorites that win in horse racing, which is high. Okay. I'm going to be way more bearish on it, but I'm also aware that the value to me is how many people do you think would actually take him at the 3 out of 100?
Well, I mean, what? So Puka last year finished. He's been at 17.6 and 18.8 points his first 2 years. So you're saying you don't think he's a third chance to get kind of just to keep doing what he's doing?
Okay. Fair. I mean to exaggerate further, meaning how often will he compete with the top 2 or 3, 4 picks in the draft? Meaning 20 plus. Sorry, I should have said 20 plus.
Yeah, maybe like 10%.
Okay. Then we're kind of in the same range. Yeah. So 10 is kind of a nice number. It's clean. Once you start going below 10, it gets really hard to analyze stuff. And I'm all about math. And, I finished 15th in the main event one year. Actually, I had one entry with a buddy of mine. And so I got a little cocky and got a little full of myself. And that draft is way different than these best ball. It's not, that's redraft. Yeah. So that was really just looking at the game a lot differently, because you're competing against a few thousand. When you're competing against like a million or hundreds of thousands, I'm looking to find edges. And in this case, if you feel like Puka could score 22 to 25 or plus points and smash 10%, when I compare it, I say, well, how many times out of 100 in a draft are people taking him? And I'm going to say, probably less than 1%. So if you have a 10% chance of being right.
Wait, sorry. You mean at the 3 specifically?
Like early, just
Okay.
early in the first
Early.
3, 4, 5
Early.
spots.
Got
Yeah.
it.
And so that's the thing that I'm thinking about is how can I eliminate the field to get it so tight and so small at the end? Because if I'm right, I'm only going to be, I mean, I want to be around like 40 or 50 more years because I'm pretty healthy, but you got to draft hundreds of drafts to play this thing intelligently because it's so low probability. But I want to eliminate, I want to play at the end of the game when I'm with, a couple dozen, maybe a dozen people or two. I don't want to compete against hundreds. So I'll take a 10% chance on Puka right now, even though Stafford, I mean, it's a little sketchy, but Garoppolo is probably
back at team drills today, though.
Yeah,
I wouldn't have let you do this if Stafford wasn't back. I was like, it's helpful that Stafford participated in all the drills today. That makes Puka 3 a little bit more palatable.
Yeah. And that's also another reason you could even be more contrarian because people might think he's not going to play, So, but the goal is to eliminate, tens of thousands of players. So we have already eliminated, I'd say 1 out of, 100 to 500 teams. Plus you're only 1 out of 12 in the first round. So you've pretty much eliminated 5,000 to 10,000 entries if you play intelligently through the rest of the way. So that's kind of the thinking is how can I eliminate tens of thousands of players if I'm right 1 out of 10 years?
So wait, so we're about to be up here. Anything comes out to you? I'll pull up the pool.
Yeah. So I have a pretty strong call again, and I'm open to your suggestion, but again, the structure is also, there's so many axes that I'm looking at, right, when I'm playing this thing. And you guys are great, man. You guys are so like switched on, all the whole gang. I love seeing how mindful and thoughtful and deep you go and all the angles. And I just want to be bold in at least the first couple rounds, and then I'm going to let ADP come my way because I think the best way.
So we got 10 seconds.
I would probably take Bucky at this point.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, Bucky's who I like there too.
Good. I've heard you talk about him too, and I think we're both. I'm really heavy. The other guy I'm really heavy on is Lad.
Yeah, I like Lad a lot too. Yeah.
So
Lad can sometimes come back around now with the Keenan stuff. You never know who kind of is on the turn there, how nervous they are about that. But yeah, Bucky, I think Bucky's going to come out of the gate with awesome usage. I tend to go McBride here. Where are you at?
So at this point, I would say let's take another wide receiver. Another wide receiver. Let's take Higgins if he's there. McBride's gone now. Let's see, because can we still where are we at? Are we up?
Yeah, we're up. So okay. Higgins is here.
I would take Higgins or Wilson. Either one of those guys is fine.
Higgins,
yeah. And you might be able to. Well, in my experience with the DraftKings, the quarterbacks are like all over the place. So it's like, but
you have to take Burrow at the 4-5 if you want him.
And I don't
back to 6-7.
And that's like what I love about this is it's such a mind game because taking a risk like Puka early, like if I was making that my call, and I could even share with you at some point.
You showed me your exposures. I think you are making that your call.
Yeah. Dude, different. It's the only way you're alive is as if you're gonna die hard. And so last year, if you remember when I went on your show, I was heavy on Rachaad White, and it was more of a Tampa play, and I still kicking myself because I heard Pete say, "Oh, Bucky's an automatic click in the end," and there's certain guys that I should have backed up because it was an offensive play, but I also felt kind of like a dumbass because his metrics were pretty bad, but I still just felt like situationally in the draft and everything. So I went heavy on him. I went heavy. So I was also anti-stack, if you remember, saying that stacks are overrated, especially we're talking underdog stuff. And the reason being is I'm not going to force stacks, and I'm not going to stack unless I really love it. So last year I was 20 to 40% chase. And then the Burrow was the only other. So that was like a heavy stack for me, but none of the other stacks I played unless it was after round 10. And that's like another game theory to me too, is trying to only play the stacks I like. Like I'm not going to just do it. Obviously you can, but I want to be really, really narrow. And so with Puka this year, I'm not going to stack him with Stafford as much. I'm looking for other places.
Yeah. I think with Puka too, you're the way he wins is consolidating a ton of target volume where he's like racking up catches and, you know, getting a lot of yards, hitting the bonus, but not necessarily like going for 20 touchdowns or something that's, you know, powering Stafford to all these spike weeks. Stafford somehow, like Stafford's superpower is supporting 2 wide receivers and then still kind of like only not like maybe like half getting there for fantasy himself. So I think he's fine, especially given how cheap he is, but
Yeah,
not like one of
he's
those
cheap.
stacks where it's like you have to complete it.
Yeah, and I'm gonna probably hold our call. I don't think anybody's in the room that's probably watching, right? Or do you think that?
Probably not. Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah, these things are so big. But there's a couple of stacks. So like and I love this year because I played early and I played a lot of these small ones early, you know, just to kind of get comfortable. And I loved just making some like some early calls and hoping that I could get some value points. But before I go into that, what are we coming up to here? Let's bring up the
so we've got there's some wide receivers I like here, but we also have Walker, Brees. I'm not so into Kamara this early. Chubb, Connor Harvey. Okay. Wide receivers. I like Ted McMillan a good amount here. Does he go? Did he go?
Did he just go?
Gone. Yeah, he went.
Okay.
Yeah, Pickens and Brees and Walker are probably my 3 favorite.
Yeah, so here's the thing: is I have a build kind of structure too, and I probably forecast that it's better taking running back. So I would definitely take Ken Walker here, or Ken Williams. Like, yeah, I think we do that. And it's a little uncomfortable, right? Because we're getting heavy on the run, but based on the structure, and I haven't played I played hundreds of underdog, but in this particular experiences that I've played, I felt like at the end, I can load up on a lot of like chance running backs.
You can. That's true.
It's take some flyers, and that to me feels a lot better. There's a few guys that I'll mess around with, like if I get kind of sniped at wide receiver early, but to me, again, I'm not trying to be too cute now, because we did take a big stand, which eliminated, a good 1 out of 10 or 1 out of 12 times 1 out of 100. So we've already eliminated 12 to 20,000 people just by putting Puka in that position. In my experience, I don't know if you follow me on that. But.
So we're on the clock. Hubbard, Harvey, Flowers here at the top of the sidekick. I like Flowers a lot. I like these running backs decently too, though. Do you have anyone that jumps out to you?
I wouldn't take running back. I would definitely take. I would take Devontae Smith.
Flowers in.
Yeah, Flowers or Devontae Smith.
Let's do
one of those two. Yeah. And the reason I say that is there's a lot of upside with Devontae versus Flowers to me, because AJ's got he's always, he's had some injury issues in the past, and I'm always trying to figure out, like, that's why last year I was, skeptical of Tua, and he went down, and it's like, there's certain guys that make my insides just like cringe a bit or just worry. It's like you get these weird butterflies, and I'm a Zen guy. So like, I'm not Zen with like AJ Brown, because I like him as a person, as a player. Like, he's like into some like funky spiritual stuff, but obviously I'm trying to blend the left brain, right brain. The numbers are the numbers. All these guys are awesome. You guys are better at forecasting than I'll ever be. So it's really about trying to use the subtle nuance to make some decisions, and then standing by those decisions. So I have virtually no AJ Brown this year.
Interesting. Does that have anything to do with his injury stuff, or
a little bit? Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, and schedule, and the I think having just a new offensive coordinator, there's some risks there too. There's just a lot of, again, I think so. Here's the other thing is, like, it's hard when you're fading somebody. It's like, okay, is this person going to get 15 in this round, like 15 to 18 or 20 points? Yeah, I easily could. But I'm looking for guys to like that have legendary upside, right? So it's like, how can I do that? And I would rather in that position early on take a Lad or a Bucky over that, and get the positional value at that point in the draft, because I'm going to be skipping, multiple points ahead. And I cannot hate on anybody. And that's what's funny, is I used to be like, oh my God, these guys are taking these guys so much earlier. But now I understand that being contrarian is absolutely critical. Like,
so we're going to be picking again fairly soon. I guess let's talk about that quickly. So this is a spot. Yeah. Pollard and Pacheco tend to go, right on this turn here. Mekabuka just went off. I would have definitely
damn.
floated him. He doesn't tend
Definitely.
to fall like at all anymore.
Not in
I like Olave here. Golden, another rookie. Adunze.
Okay, can you bring up the player list again and let's talk about it real quick? Yeah, because in my opinion, we got to go wide receiver. Absolutely, 100%. There's no, I just don't. We can't afford, I think, to take another running back given the lack of quality later.
Okay.
And if you're okay with that.
No, I'm good with the receivers here. I like Olave and Golden. Adunze a bit less. And he just goes.
Okay, so we're up. Oh no, we're not up. Okay.
Yeah, Olave's here. If you're good with that. Are you on Olave?
Yeah, I would say Olave or Jennings. Either one's fine.
Jennings, I think we can push if you want to do receiver again.
Okay, let's try to push it. Yeah, you know this room better than I do, so
Jennings. So one thing with DraftKings, if you got the Q tag,
right,
you're much more likely to fall.
Yeah, and Jennings is an interesting guy to be kind of contrarian on right this moment because everyone's on Pearsall and he's going to be a dog, but like at the same time, like the contract stuff, it's fun to play those games. And early on when I was playing underdog and stuff and playing these other drafts, I went heavier on like Daniel Jones, hoping that he would get the starting job, and that just happened, which is it's getting really cheap late stuff, right? But like
I have a bunch of him in Superflex.
Me too. No, exactly. Yeah. That's the main one. Yeah, exactly.
Do you want to do Jennings?
Oh yeah, if we can get him, let's take him. Yeah, for sure. Okay. For sure. Good call. And I can't.
Yeah, the Q tag, man. It's a nice little trick.
Yeah, it's like a tattoo. It's like a scarlet letter or some.
Yeah, literally. So, all right, we got some time until the next pick. Can you explain the Puka thing a little bit more? Where, so when you talk about like eliminating the teams, you're like, we have Puka, Bucky, T, Walker, that combo. We've got Puka. If Puka smashes, we've just got a different combo with him. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, because I'm gonna play hundreds of drafts. I'm gonna try to get to, because again, it's really about winning, right? You can advance, and I can never knock anybody's strategies because some people just want satisfaction of being right and proving themselves that they're talented at forecasting and getting through. And there's a lot of great players I've met through you guys. I mean, even Driscoll out or whatever, he like advanced 30% of his teams and he had some great calls. So I and I'm not saying he's not playing for the finals, but I'm just pure finals. Like, and I want to be able to compete against less people. Like that's it. I want to, it's just like playing the pick six in horse racing. You want to be able to have a single that's a high enough price that will separate and eliminate like 90% of the field, and then make another opinion that's probably going to narrow it down to a few tickets. And that's when you can get paid. It's like the lottery. If nobody else has the numbers, you crush. But to answer your question, like think about that first 3 or 4 combo, right? Like how many people are going to have that combo? What we're doing is we're executing our brain power on rounds like, 4 through 10. So we win and die based on rounds 4 through 10, because that's where your skills, and my skills are going to be able to, I think, do a better job of predicting over time. Because when you start going past that in the late rounds, you're just shooting at 2 and 3%. And it's so fun to hit sometimes, but that's not how I want to plan on winning. I'd rather make some calls. Like earlier in the season, I was taking a bunch of Amica and Pearsall and even Pollard. I have a lot of Pollard.
He was also a lot cheaper. Yeah.
Yeah, like some of these guys, and some of it's luck and some of it's skill, but I want to be right when I'm right. Like I want him on my calls. Like, and to me, Puka is a call. Like, like you said, 10% of the time he could really crush, right? And I'm still not losing, right? By doing that, I may not advance as many teams, and maybe this year I'm really, shite, but at the same time, I'm going to be right 1 out of 10 years. And that year, because like right now I've got like 46% Puka or something, and I'll show you my exposures again if you want. But like, it's gnarly.
With Puka, is it about Puka, or is it about because he's the guy who can compete with Jefferson and Lamb, who goes later, and so you can take him at 3 and get unique? Is it that is that what it is? It's all of it.
Okay. He's a Jedi. He is phenomenally, like, I know that some of the other guys, I think Harmon and
and others have talked about his excellence. I just think it's
he's awesome. Positionally, he is. Well, let's look at the guys real quick here. What's coming up so we don't get distracted.
So yeah, we've got 2 running backs, 5 wide receivers, 0 at the onesies. Yep. We've got, let's see, we're on the clock. J.K. Dobbins is here. Brock Purdy's here if we do want to stack. Any
at this point, I definitely I would look at probably stacking, or I would try to get probably.
I was throwing guys in the queue so we don't time out.
Yeah, exactly. I would say, actually, I would probably take Andrews and then try to get Purdy on the way back.
Okay. Well, we took Dobbins. Yeah.
We took who?
We took Dobbins. J.K. Dobbins.
Okay. I didn't realize you were doing that. Okay.
No, I threw him in the queue because I didn't want to time out on Brian Robinson since he's about to get cut.
Oh yeah. So,
yeah.
He's trash.
We just ran out of time.
And again, it's go ahead.
Purdy here. Is that what you want to do, or you would?
I would still rather take Andrews.
Andrews, okay.
If we can, and then Purdy,
cool.
on the come around. But again, like when we look at our team real quick again, real fast, and let's look at our potential stacks. So now it's like at this point, we're now, we're probably gonna have to take Purdy then. Yeah.
Yeah, stacking wise, I think it's Purdy.
Yeah, we have to take Purdy. And then we can just kind of play the tight end roulette game a little bit, but So what are your thoughts kind of on the early part of this build?
Yeah, I mean, so I like Puka a lot. I thought when we started talking, it's like we're talking a little best ball and exposures and stuff. You asked me about Puka, and I was like, yeah, I'm pretty high on Puka. Like I've got a pretty big bag because for a first rounder, I don't know, I'm probably at like 15% or something.
Okay.
Which I thought was pretty high. But because I was breaking ties to him at 7.
No, you're double. You're double the norm. You're double the norm.
I'm like double the norm
as much. Yeah.
So I'm definitely into Puka. And as far as now you almost with the Stafford injury, the uniqueness thing, it does get a little bit tricky if that player falls, right? Because then all of a sudden you're not unique, or you are unique, but you're unique because you have Bucky and they have Barkley. Or you have Bucky and they have Brian Robinson or Bijan Robinson, excuse me. And that's obviously a lot less fun. So, but Puka never fell that far and isn't falling anymore. He'll be coming back up. So the Puka Bucky combo is pretty fun. I gotta say.
It's super sexy, right? But it's not about the sex. It's really about the fact that you're taking a hard stand.
It's not about the sex, to be clear.
I mean, it's surely Stafford's on team no sex with that back right now. But there's definitely like, I don't know, you get these feelings, these like intuitions. And when I bet on horses, I've won 30, got 50 tournaments, but 30 cash games, and I trust my body because I've seen hundreds of thousands of races, and I know when to slam. And I'm an all-in guy, and I want to be right, and I want to be really right. And I know that feeling of when I'm just hesitating a little bit, and I'm just getting like, everyone can allude to I don't like that click, but it's also knowing when I really, because you can get falling value in ADP and not like the click, and I still think that's okay. But when it's like, it's kind of, I don't know, kind of orgasmic to stay on the thread.
To get us back to the sex. All right, so we got a falling Chris Godwin here, who's the injury news on him is getting.
Go back to the all players again. List the players so I can.
We got Luther Burden as a receiver who I love. He's a bring back on Purdy in week 17.
Right.
Here's the tight ends, running backs.
Okay, just list all again real quick. So I'm looking at ADP too. So I would. What position are we on in the draft? What number?
This is the 10th 10th pick of the 10th round.
So what's the number? The total number? Like
118.
118. Okay. I'm gonna put. I'm with you. I think we stay with Godwin. I'm just trying to think who are we gonna take next. Then I mean, that's the next thing to think about, right?
I think if you're deep at receiver and you can get Godwin this late, I'm still into it. I know it's risky.
Yeah.
The other dude who's been rocketing up the board is Ja'Cory Crosky Merritt. The ADP doesn't really mean anything for him. So I'll throw him in just in case. I don't know where you at on him with the Brian Robinson stuff.
So I didn't even know about him until like maybe like 3 weeks ago, and then you hear all these, rumblings about, injuries in the backfield. It makes a lot of sense. Or not injuries, but there's just the potential that Brian Robinson could lose the job. And for me, it's like at the time, like maybe 2 weeks ago or so, I was taking a bunch of them because I could I wanted to get on the hype train, and I was getting them early with Woody Mark.
Me too.
Yeah. So I took, that's why it's fun to draft early. I think you got to do that. I'm actually like mixed on him. He's fine. I don't think he deserves to be taken right now. But he's probably gonna be gone. So we already got 3 good running backs. I'm not worried about running back right now. I'm worried about tight end and just thinking about who else at maybe the quarterback position or anything else. We're gonna.
Do you like any of these tight ends?
I would say Goddard or Ferguson would be the only guys I'd be interested. I wouldn't want to take
any quarterbacks. Not really. Burden, do you have any interest in him?
No, we already got enough of a wide receiver now at this build. I think we're fine. What are you thinking?
Let's take a tight end. We can go Goddard. We already have the
we have Devontae
on the Eagles. Yeah,
that's fine. But yeah, it's like I try to let the room come to me, and I was talking to I was telling you about, I had a conversation with Chad Schroeder, one of the best, right? Like all-time legends. And I introduced you to him, and he was talking about some of his ideas and being also okay with not stacking and literally letting the draft, just fall and fall and fall. And obviously you have your boundaries. Like there are certain guys I will not take unless they're like 20 points, 20 rounds or 20 points or numbers ADP. But I think to me, you got to be right on your guys. You got to know who you're willing to live and die on. And then structurally, you got to think, all right, how can I get to the guys I want? And then sit back and just like pray.
Yep. So structurally, where we're weak now is the onesies. We've got one quarterback. Stacking wise, we haven't really set anything up outside of the one we have, Puka. I mean, I guess you could say we could do Sam Darnold with Ken Walker, but whatever.
I'm okay.
We got Trevor Lawrence. Yeah, I think that's fine. Trevor Lawrence, CJ Stroud. Those dudes are fairly backstackable if we want to do that.
Right.
Bryce Young.
How many places are we up? How far away are we?
We got the whole wrap.
We got the wrap. So when you're doing, so let me point out something that I thought is interesting when you asked about the position of why Puka there, because he's going 9, 10, 11, whatever, especially falling a little bit more, even more now. It is a positional play because you can get 6 or 7 spots relative to him. That is huge, right? That's massive in terms of, I think, advantage play. And I just came back from this Bet Bash conference in Vegas with like 500 of the best like sports bettors in the world. And they were all talking about advantage play. And some of these guys, one dude goes to all over like the world and tries to find dealers that are showing cards, like when they just deal, and he'll literally scout and all over
scouts dealers.
Scouts dealers and went to Macau, and he like, great guy.
Wow.
He's super. Yeah. I'm not going to say his name because I don't want to give him in trouble, but he'll get a team. So then after he scouts, he'll send his team to that location for like a month until the dealer gets fired.
Oh my God.
That's Jedi, dude.
That is amazing.
Yeah, pretty cool. So, but advantage play is kind of the thing that people use. And we can talk a little bit more about some of that in sports. And I have some interesting conspiracy theories about ways that some of these NFL teams are trying to like take advantage of situations. But in this situation with Puka, you get so much positional play. Like I heard Evan Silva talk about taking Gibbs early, and I respect that. Anytime you're going to be bold, I can never argue with you. You're not getting as much value if you take him. That you're getting 3 or 4 spots maybe. So it's still good. It's not, I think, as impactful, but it's still pretty heavy. I don't think I've seen Gibbs go once at the 2 or the 3. But yeah, the runway that taking Puka is helpful. But let's go in.
Quarterbacks are flying off the board.
Okay, so
pretty much every quarterback's gone.
Okay.
Well, not every quarterback. We get Ward, Geno, but we should take a quarterback with one of these 2 picks, I would say.
Yeah. Where are
you at on Judkins? He's a faller here. Tootin's also here, who I like a lot.
Yeah, I think we have to take Judkins or Tootin. Yeah, one of those. Oh, yeah, I would say one of those. I think Judkins, given the fact that the ADP is so so in our favor.
Yeah.
Again, I'm trying to find more value and try to play it more conservative a little bit.
Stafford goes as well. So we're not getting the Stafford stack.
Even though it's okay.
Which isn't that important, but I don't know. I'm surprised to see the quarterback run, but sometimes it goes like this on DraftKings.
That's okay. So let's strategize now. So could we get Cam Ward to
Cam Ward? Yeah,
let's do that, and we can do the tight end with him later.
Yeah, we gotta take Cam or Gino here, I think.
Yeah,
and I'm good with Cam if you want him.
Yeah, let's do that, because then we can get Sanders or sorry, Chig.
Yeah, I like Chig actually. I think the preseason stuff made me a lot more bullish on him. He seems like he's got the role.
Yeah, that's what I was listening. I listened to you guys, man. You guys like just drop in these nuggets, and I'm like, I'll check Roto World and some things, but I just appreciate when you guys are just rapping, and next thing you know, you say something that's like sticks, and I'm like, yeah, that preseason usage is interesting. Oh, but back to Jacory real quick. You know, when I look at these stats, like he broke off one last night, right, for 20-something yards. That dude, you and I could have run, but it's like,
well, he does beat the safety. I'll give him credit for beating the safety. It's like 23 of the yards we could have done. I'm not housing that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a runner, and I'm a big, health dude, and I drink my kombucha pretty much every day. But yeah, I love it when things get exaggerated, and I'm always looking for overreaction, especially with horses too. Like if a horse gets, like right now, Sovereignty is like the talk of everything, and he's fine, but I'm not sure yet. And you win a couple big races, and everyone's thinking you're God. Same with journalism. And so in this case, Jacory's like, he's good. I'm definitely, I'm happy I've gotten him early, and now it's like, okay, well, what do I do? And there's, if I need another running back and I'm in that position, I mean, who would you take over him that's kind of in that range, and who would you not take around him?
I mean, so he's kind of moved up a little bit. The tricky part is I'm trying to live in the world where Brian Robinson's not on the team, because he's so clearly not going to be on the team.
Yeah.
They've reached a mutual agreement for him not to play.
Yeah.
Then Ben Standig was talking through the backfield last night, and it's just very clear that, and he's the guy that said he didn't expect Robinson to be on the team like a week ago, and has had this, he's been all over this. So my assumption from him was that like Robinson's not on this team. So with Robinson gone, I think, and then the camp that he's had, I do think that you can start to think about JCM. Like, why aren't we taking him over Caleb Johnson? Like I think he's, and I think he'll go there as well. Like I think he's going to end up in the 7th round after Robinson gets cut in those final drafts. So I'm sort of thinking it relative to that. Now, is that an overreaction? Yeah, probably. but where he's going right now, I don't think, at least in this draft, right? Where we
go to the players real quick, and let's kind of look around. He might, it's getting to that point, but
he went here at 1203. Like I think I'm taking him over all these backs in the 10th round.
Could you bring up the player list again? Like
yeah.
That helps me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's make these couple picks before I do that. Just so
we have Cam Ward now too. So we cannot miss on Chig. We got to make sure we take Chig. That's a must. And then what else are we doing at tight end and quarter? Like, is there anything else that? Because to me, tight end is more important than running back right now. But I mean, that Dobbins pick is a little, rough in some ways, but at least we have to bank on him performing now.
Yeah.
Because like I said,
I don't mind the Dylan Sampson play where you just grab both the Cleveland backs and you're feeling okay. But
that's right. We have Jenkins too. I'm okay with it. Well, so how many picks are we up? Are we coming up to?
One pick.
Okay. And what about tight ends
tight ends? So Sampson just went. I don't think there's a lot of opportunity cost. We could just grab Okonkwo here.
Okay. Well, either or I would say we get maybe Hunter and then Okonkwo or whatever.
Sure. But I'm good with that. I like Hunter Henry.
Yeah, like it's an easy. I think May's going to go off. It's going to be weird how it's spread around, but I definitely like being a part of that offense. But again, the build tells me we need some tight end now. Like we definitely are a little thin.
No, I'm good with tight end.
So what do you want to do next? Like, what are you thinking? Oh, we're just going to take Chig then? You think
we're going to take Chig if he gets there? Yeah.
Okay.
Because his ADP is 175, and we're at 171.
Okay,
So
I'm fine with that.
can't
Yeah,
push
or
him.
he may not come around. Yeah. And that's the thing is like there are situations like that where you just for the build, and sometimes you get a little in a corner.
But I haven't brought up a lot of comments here, but I do enjoy this one. People don't know Barry Bonds was juicing, but it was kombucha.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people are using a lot of like performance enhancing green drugs, but
Green drugs, yeah. No, that's been a thing. Wait, so what were we were? What did we get derailed on?
oh yeah, what were we talking about?
Conversation I want to
We're
get
talking
back
about
to.
we're talking about Ja'Cory for a while.
Yeah,
and
Ja'Cory. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me show you you wanted the list of the players. That's what it was. All right.
Yeah.
So I'll go to
So now
show
now
draft. I'm going to show you. This is the list of players with everyone there.
Okay.
So here he is at one. His ADP is 160, but he goes more like here.
And okay, so who's around there? So I could never take him over Tank. I could take him over Chubb. I could not take him over. So Stevenson is also a little sneaky to me. I do think obviously the negative on the injury stuff and whatever the system, but I don't know. I think I have my own way of evaluating players, and I just think visually he's like solid. Like, so there's not as much upside with him. He's more of like a stable, like kind of goal line guy that might get.
I think he's undervalued. Yeah. I think he's going to be their early down guy to begin the year for sure. Yeah,
right. He could lose a job, but I don't. So yeah, I get uncomfortable taking this guy that early. And again, it's also I don't like being a sheep. Like I don't want to follow, that train. Like there's certain trains like Amika, like, yeah, I followed it and I was kind of in on it a little bit. I wish I didn't take Mooney a few times over him, like early when they were at the same place. But like, I just kind of like, I got to feel into it. I mean, we're all shooting kind of from the hip, and yeah, I mean, he's fine. I can't knock you for doing it. I just ask you the question, what are you sacrificing? If you really need a running back in that position too, like that's a whole nother question.
Well, here's the other thing with Merritt. Even though he's jumping up, he's only been drafted. The ETR numbers at the other day had it at like 36% of drafts that he's been taken in so far. So you want to talk about getting unique. You show up to week 17, even if he's a smash, even if he wins playoff weeks.
Yeah.
Like his max ownership would be like at 50%, and that would be if like he's God, right? Because he's only been drafted half the time once this tournament finishes up. So
bring up the players again. Is this are we coming up next? Just sorry.
Yeah, we're up net 2 picks. Yeah.
Okay.
So this is all players that I'm showing here.
Okay, cool. So is there anything that's like on your screen jumping out at this point? Do you think we should just take ADP value, or do you want it? Because the build looks fine right now, but I'm just curious if there's any other, correlation stuff or things that you're kind of keen on.
Correlation wise, we could do Imanor if you want to build on that. My guy's Harold Fannin, who I reach for in every draft. De'Ami Brown is okay for like wide receiver depth. DJ Giddens I love. Horton has had a nice little stretch of camp. But yeah, Fannin is kind of like building.
Are we coming up right now? Are we coming up?
Yeah, we're up 5 seconds.
Okay, go ahead and you just take who you like. That's fine.
All right, I'm taking Fannin. He's just a big target for me.
Yeah, that's the thing. At this point, we're dealing with like 2, 3, 4% types. So I can't. I'm not gonna. I don't want you to not get that guy. You know what I mean? Like.
Yeah.
So we're functionally we're looking probably at running backs now, or maybe another quarterback, but probably running backs. Right?
I think running back makes a lot of sense. We could do.
I like Tucker, and I do like out of those guys, I'd say Tucker or Shipley are probably the only guys. I mean, I watched
Shipley's good with me. We got the bet on the Eagles for sure.
Yeah, that's fine. Let's keep it consistent. I mean, plus, yeah. So it's funny. I get pretty decisive, like about guys, like, and I'm definitely a bit of a tape bro, Zen bro. Like I look for movement, but I'm also looking at the team and the energy of like what's going to happen. And when you're dealing with the 1% stuff or 2% stuff, it's like whatever. But I see these flashes, and not that I'm like a deep like football guy, but I played 1 year and screwed up my hand and it had 1 sack, and it was kind of a joke. But I do love trying to use my football knowledge to like assess upside. And I think Like a guy like Taj Brooks, and maybe it comes back to bite me, but I wasn't impressed. I was not impressed at all. And I'm just like, he's fine, but I'm not going to take him. So I'll take other guys like Brashard Smith. Like I think he's got a lot more. And same with Tucker. Like those guys are like flat, like way flashier to me. And Bucky's awesome. And I know that Rashad could really get bumped here for a while, which could move Tucker up the depth chart. So this is really nuanced stuff at this point, though. But I don't know. Do you have any strong opinion on these kind of like last round guys?
I like DJ Giddens a lot as far as guys I think are good. Obviously, he's blocked and is just a contingent play, but I think the Daniel Jones starting announcement helps him. Where
you want to try to backstack him? Do you want to try to get into Jones? Let's try to do that.
That's an interesting idea.
Yeah, let's do that.
I think
Jones might be going though.
Jones is gone. Yeah,
he just went. Okay, yeah, because the news.
Yeah,
but I liked Giddens' tape. I thought he was interesting.
I'm a fan, and he can catch the ball. He's kind of one of these dudes. He can get going after he catches the ball, and he's kind of an explosive pass catcher. So, I think having a quarterback who can complete a 1-yard pass is good for him. Better than Richardson for sure.
Yeah, I know. It's funny. I just think the whole mojo behind Richardson and the way he showed up, not wanting to play last year, I don't think you can shake that easily. And so I'm kind of, I just think in terms of the team, see what Daniel Jones can do and see if he can win a bunch of games, and then make Richardson kind of earn his way back and earn the respect of the players back. But that was really rough.
Yeah. So we're looking at, we could do Imanor too as a pick here. Do you like him?
Yeah, I think he's fun. Who is there anyone else? Do you think we need to take him now, or do you think we can wait?
Let's see. He is less likely to come back than Giddens, I think. Although let me just check the board here.
I don't think as many people were taking
these dudes. This guy kind of needs running back, so maybe we
need some running back help too. We've only got like 4 or 5.
Let's do Giddens.
Let's do Giddens. Yeah, and then we'll hope that he's on the backside.
So we're at 2-6-6-4 now. We waited at tight end, but we got Goddard, we got Hunter Henry, we got Okonkwo, and we got Fannin. So that's actually a pretty fun tight end room. And Imanor should make it back here, which double stacks Ward.
Yep, that would be nice. And again, Ward's fine. It's not. I mean, we don't know. He's got a really easy schedule, so he's trying to earn his job. I like the mentality of that, but I guess it's a little light. I'd like to have probably had a little maybe a little stronger tight end, and then taken another quarterback that's a little juicier. But also the build was weird because of the wide receivers we chose, right? So,
this run really hurt us where all these quarterbacks came off, and then we should have probably taken Stafford and played for one of Judkins or Tootin. I didn't think Stafford would go though at 143.
Dude, so the thing about Stafford, he's great. I love super guy, but there's way more.
It's not like a must-have. Yeah.
Purdy will outperform him, I'd say 80% of the time. And so to try to get those extra points, but Cam could figure it out by week 8 and start getting they're mixing some things up and
totally.
So it's I think also, I feel confident we are in a very unique situation, right? That's the kind of the point. And if we get in the mix, if we're in the game, and it's not, again, this isn't about being right. It's the paradox of being right, but not trying to be perfect, but also playing the game against the least amount of people possible. And, that's why I love this. It's the intellectual challenge of this is far greater than almost any other games out there. And it's
a lot of fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
So let's go back to some of your calls then for the season. So obviously mine are, Puka and Bucky and Ladd, and I love Ken Walker. So I'm glad that we got a bunch of those guys. Where would you, if you had to, hang your head on 5 guys and you're like, these are guys I'd really like to see crush that are on the bulk of my teams. Where are you at?
Bashal Tootin I like a lot.
Hmm?
He's on a ton of my teams. I believe he's my highest drafted player. The reason being there, I mean, they've hinted that they're not that psyched about either of these two running backs. I mean, they give ETN kind of the starting nod in the first preseason game, and then last week they made it clear that Tootin's their lead runner, even if ETN's technically the starter, and ETN's going to be kind of doing more third down type of stuff. But Tootin's had a really strong camp, has been very explosive, but he got hurt partly through camp, so he's missed some reps. And so, yeah, we're not seeing him like threatening for the starting role week 1, but I think he takes that job. I think it's kind of like Bucky last year, where you've got the guys ahead of him are very underwhelming, and he has a lot of juice. And he's a 3-down type of player. He's a workhorse at Virginia Tech, even though he's not huge. But he's not tiny either, and he also catches the ball. So he's someone I love. Luther Burden, I think, is just really underpriced relative to the upside. He has to go through Olamide Zacchaeus to get the slot role. That's happening. He's going to take that role. Maybe it'll be week 5 or 6 or whatever, but he's getting that role. And then once he has that role, that's a potential really high targets per route run, even target share role. So I think he's a smash right now. Drake May, I love. He's going to break out this year, real big, very stackable. You can get his guys early, you can get his guys late. So he's one of my favorites too.
That's exactly that's what I love about that thinking too. Is it's so affordable and it's just so making a call on Drake May this year and just building everything late around him. You obviously have to have another quarterback in some way, but that is a thing of beauty right there. That's how I started the season when I was drafting. And then I kind of just, it wore off for whatever reason. I found other situations. I'm like aggro, like massive on Baker Mayfield this year too, with both Evans and Mika. That's like the main stack I'm in on, and a little bit of Purdy with both the key wide receivers.
So De'Ami Brown's here, which is like kind of free points, I think.
I mean, we could do it for Davis, but like
for Davis. Anyone else that you like kind of as a final? I threw Smith in there.
I would take Smith. Oh, did he go?
Sure. People are. There's been some stuff that's made me nervous on him as far as like just being kind of buried, but
I mean, we saw it with Pacheco.
He's another guy where there's a path. Like if good, he. I like guys where it's like if you're good, I win, and I still feel that way with Brashard Smith. I'm just not sure if he's good.
Well, were you not impressed by a couple of the things you saw in the preseason?
No, it's more that like if you can't establish yourself clearly ahead of Eli Mitchell, who's kind of every report on him is that he looks pretty washed.
Yeah, people are saying he may not make the team, right? So
yeah. But the preseason usage has made me. He's getting the usage of a guy. Let's take him. I want to believe, but he's just gotten the usage of a guy recently where it's like this. He's not standing out. So hopefully that doesn't matter because he makes the roster. He's the kick returner and he stands out over the course of the season. Because if he does, they could really use a player like him as a pass catcher, kind of the Jerick McKinnon thing.
Yeah, exactly. I love the comparables in the past, and Reed likes that kind of thing. And that offense, they are the most they're well coached, obviously, but they have to continuously evolve. Like there's so much tape on them, and like having that kind of guy in there is just a whole nother kind of wrinkle and things. So I would expect them, to me, like as a coach, wanting to like bring a guy like that into the mix, giving him more chances. He has to earn it, of course, but that's kind of an angle for me. And we'll see. Do you want to do one more, or do you got to bounce?
I got to bounce, but let's review the team and we can talk through some of the big things here. So Puka, then we got. So explain the Puka thing for anyone who came late, because Puka at 3. What are we thinking?
I know, right? So again, there's no question. We said it. We both kind of agreed. 10% of the time, he can smash, above 18, and get to the 20s or maybe more, whatever, right? And there's risk all over the place. So 10%, you could call it 5. The thing is, when you start looking at who you're competing against, how many entrants are in this?
In the final, you mean? like
Yeah.
specifically.
Well, but
Yeah.
how many like players or how many contestants are completely in this tournament? What's the max?
Let's
Like
see. Contest details. We've got
like a million or close to it, or at least 500,000, right?
rules and scoring. Where is the entrance? I think if I go back to the lobby, it'll say.
Yeah, no worries. Let's just assume it's a million or at least 500K, right?
Yeah, it's at least 500K.
Yeah, so 500K. You take Puka in the
Oh,
first
here it is.
round.
Here it is.
What do you got?
It's right here. Sorry, I clicked in. It's 882,000 contestants or teams.
Okay.
So I should
Okay,
say.
so 882, call it a million, whatever. Divide by 12 because you take Puka in the first round. So you're at 80,000 or 70
And the
something.
final is 1,021.
Okay. And so the goal is in the final to compete, in my opinion, against like 10 teams that are kind of like close to you. And that's, an aggressive goal. But I believe that we're intelligent enough to know that's why it's easier to make calls in the first two rounds. And you saw it last year. I mean, I actually had quite a bit of Barkley. I had zero, as you know, Derrick Henry, because I thought like last year I was fading him, but I thought, yeah, he can get 15 or whatever, but he proved me wrong. And so I'm looking in the first two rounds to take a shot because I want to go from 800,000 immediately. When we take our first round pick, we go to 80,000 or 70,000, right? So now how can I go from 70,000 down to like, 7,000 or 5,000 right off the bat, right? On the first couple rounds, because then I'm using my intellect on the rounds like 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 to make the final decisions. So if I'm smarter there in those contexts, I think my brain is like more suited to be right there than to try to like find the Rashard Smiths of the world and stuff like that. And just like kind of just, pray. But I love like drafting earlier because we can play these kind of nuances with the coaching and the mentality of these teams and use some of our like our market intelligence. But I do really think that this is being underutilized. And yeah, because wouldn't you rather compete on your 2 or 3 main calls like over the next 10 or 20 years to try to take it down? Doesn't that make more sense? Like,
yeah, I think for me, it's like, how convicted am I in the strength of the bet? So like if Puka's not any better to hit than CD Lamb, then I'm getting some, I get your point about, we've got a combo that's more unique. But the way these tournaments work with the cut downs is like the stuff that gets into the final, like what ends up being kind of the chalk, is really just whoever had really strong weeks 15 and 16. Yeah. And so you could end up, it's quite possible that you could end up with like a weird Puka Bucky combo, but Bucky's been fine. And the dude that has absolutely smashed for you was Olave. But everybody, like, there's a lot of Puka Olave because Olave kind of went throughout the 6th round. Yep. And so you kind of actually have this chalk Puka Olave combo because Puka and Olave are the dudes. Mm-hmm. And so there's like, I guess the angle that I tend to think more about is actually the Ja'Cory one, where let me find guys who literally were not drafted that now I can show up to the final and it's like, I know they can spike, because we saw this. Let me find Kyron is what I'm saying, where, and Bill won't be Kyron, but that's the type of thing I'm hoping to get, where Kyron was crushing in the playoffs. He powered teams to the final in weeks 15 and 16 and still wasn't chalk in the final because he couldn't be. It was impossible for him to be because he wasn't drafted in 60 something% of drafts. So that I think, where I don't know, I also just have a harder time getting off of all these first round picks. I think you're better at just being like, no, I'm not taking, but I want exposure to Jefferson this year. I want exposure to Lamb this year because I think they're all such good bets. That's the part of it that I struggle with, where why am I fading these guys that I like just as much as Puka, that combo better be really unique in the end, or I'm kind of just, it just feels like I gave up something without getting something.
Yeah. And I think you do want diversification. So I'm not anti-diversification. I'm number one, you always got to take Chase, right? You just have to. And then past that, it's like, okay, so I have probably a good 20% ish of Jefferson. So I was taking him like 2, 3, 4 for a while. And I'll pop him in every once in a while. Cause my Puka, like, fingertips are numb, but like also when I go later, I'll take Puka. I was taking McCaffrey, and now I just think there's too much risk with injury stuff. Like it's just, it just doesn't. And again, everyone sees it. So I want to be different there. So it's Chase, Jefferson some of the time, Puka a lot of the time. And because we're doing this to illustrate the point, I wanted to take Puka there other than Jefferson because it's
I like it. I mean, it's a fun build. Puka's so good. The part that I do agree with is like, there's really no reason that Puka doesn't go at 3 other than the Stafford stuff, which now seems to be okay.
Yeah, but Jimmy G hates Devontae Adams.
That's true. Jimmy G might be good.
I mean, he can dump the ball.
It's not good for Adams for sure.
Yeah, it's and also we saw what McVay did with bringing Baker up, and so I don't know.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm not too worried about the Stafford thing. Like, I just hope it's like a couple games, but obviously, he usually gets good protection, but you never know. But I wanted to kind of also allude to the fact that later in the rounds, like when I get towards the end, I am taking stands because of the build too. So I am taking stands against Genty and Henry and A-Chain. It's like I just can't take a running back right there based on the builds and the way I'm trying to do things. So that's also a structural thing, but also again, I'm uncomfortable about the matchups and some of the there's so many factors that just have got me off of them. So I'm taking very hard stands there. I've taken a very hard stand against Neighbors. And it's not that I don't think Neighbors is good and could crush, but I have to start making some decisions, and I don't want to over diversify. So I'll take 3 or 4 guys, and I've moved lat up. Sometimes I'll take them early in the second on the turn there, just to be unique with either Brian Thomas or Amon-Ra St. Brown and stuff like that. And so
is there any other guys you're doing that with that you're kind of pulling guys from the opposite side of the board up?
Let's see. Yeah. So another thing I did a lot of just because that third round is weird, so I started moving Kittle way up on the, like where we were and Evans. So I've taken Kittle and Evans where T goes. Just because I do see some pretty interesting, because I do think Mayfield's is gonna have an outstanding year. They're gonna be throwing the ball quite a bit, and then Kittle is like, I mean, we'll see with this Jennings thing. If hopefully, if for whatever reasons, if he doesn't play, like Kittle is so reliable, and you can get Purdy with him over there easily too. So those are the boldest moves, I would say. I've taken a lot of Walker and Hubbard on the left-hand side too, and 4 and 5, because they play each other at the end too. So I thought that was kind of an interesting situation.
I do a pod with Eric Beinfor, and he looks at a lot of the player combo stuff, and DraftKings has released this data, so it's not like hypothetically you can actually look at what the combos have been early in the tournament. And out of the one hole, there are so many teams that are like the same team. So that Evans Kittle combo, that's definitely an intriguing one, because there's so many, like, you're going right like directly off of, it's like your Evans Kittle for their T McBride, That's going to be that kind of getting unique off of the one hole this year. Definitely is something I've been trying to do it like a little less extreme with, like taking like, Josh Jacobs and stuff, or I might reach for, I was reaching for Hampton when that wasn't, that kind of stopped being a reach at one point, but some of stuff like that. But I haven't done Kittle Evans. And pulling up Kittle to that spot, especially on DraftKings where he does go a little earlier, it's kind of interesting. You could do.
Yeah, I mean, how much?
You could do a number of combos like that.
Yeah, because again, what are we talking about? We're talking about a few extra touchdowns a year, a few extra catches in a game, and it's like there's so many factors, injuries that we can never predict. I mean, sometimes you can guess a little bit, somebody might be injury prone, but you've got coaching things, you got politics, you got dynamics, you got teams that are like struggling. You got, who knows there's just intangibles like that we can't forecast. So it's like, when I just asked like the smell test, okay, how much worse is Kittle than McBride? Like McBride has obviously challenges getting in the end zone too. So it's like, what's like, okay, like I have no problem taking McBride like everyone else. But again, it goes back to what I said. I can eliminate 10,000 people easily, right? 1,000 to 10,000 people in those combinations. And to me, like McBride is better than Kittle, probably, 3 to 4 or 5 times, 3 or 4 or 5x, but I'm getting like 100x on the other side of that. And it's like such a no brainer.
Yeah.
And it's uncomfortable, but I don't have to do it all the time. But I also do it more strategically because I do like Bucky. And if I have Bucky, I'll usually take Bucky. But once I don't have access to my other guys, then I'm going to be aggressive, especially like this. But if I'm playing some of these other ones that are like 10,000 players or 40,000 players, when you start multiplying and you start going down the chain, you're only going to be competing against a few hundred people. And I just want my brain to be right, like in the first like 5 or 6 rounds. Cause like, that's where the data is. And I can kind of like, use my intuition better. But again, it's interesting how I came up with that early, but I've been doing it for a while and it's stuck and it still feels good. But I just, and it's also a function of just not liking the people in round 3 as much.
Yeah.
And just getting queasy.
Yeah. No, I hear you. I also think like in a format like the sprint or something where you keep the points every week, like the main event, but it's like best ball, but the main event, or the main event, but best ball, I should say, where you're competing over 3 weeks. And so like you have to have, those guys who go nuts, but you're going to be also trying to get unique from the guys who also have those dudes. So I think that tournament, which I haven't done a ton of, but that's where that uniqueness element I think is probably going to be even bigger, where like Puka, let's say Puka, right? Puka could have an incredible season and then 2 bad games in week 15 and 16. And so like Josh Jacobs in 2022, he was the smash, right?
Yeah.
He was like in the 6th round. He has bad week 15, week 16. He's like just getting the Josh Jacobs team through. Didn't matter who he had.
Yeah.
Getting a team through was like, oh my God, and then like, Justin Jefferson was the reverse that year, where he was an absolute smash in weeks, the whole season end 15 and 16, and then duds in week 17. And so the answer was ultimately not to have Justin Jefferson and have anyone else in the first round. So it becomes, but that would have been different if you kept those points from weeks 15 and 16. The fact that it resets every week, I think hurts the uniqueness element.
It does.
But where you have like, now all of a sudden it's like, you've got Justin Jefferson, you have to have Jefferson, but you also have to have something to separate from the Jefferson teams over a 3-week period. I think in the sprint, what you're saying is probably really, really powerful.
I just think that based on, and again, I'm way behind the curve, on this game than you guys, and obviously props to what you've done. And so many of these guys, it's so, I have so much gratitude. It's so fun to just, go for a run and hear you guys like riffing, and it's just great. So, and again, the whole like Saturday night slap thing that those 2 guys did, like Pete and Davis, that was straight comedy. So I hope you guys just do that.
That was insane.
That was like, it was Inception all over again. But yeah, I think that like it's just, I want to rely on, like when I'm betting on horses too, like I don't want to bet they're like crap claimers and like make big decisions in those races.
Yeah.
Because they're just unreliable. It's like betting the Giants.
Crap claimers is where you can actually buy the horses. Is that those?
Yeah. And I'm all due respect to these horses, because, we sometimes talk smack about players too, but they're just so inconsistent, and they very like, they pop, and then all of a sudden, okay, are they going to like continue this trend, or is it going to is the lactic acid going to like knock them out? And you have to kind of play a lot of games of trying to figure out, okay, they're improving, but they're not going up in class. That's probably a negative. If they're high on the horse and they're dropping off of a good effort, okay, that's a little shady. So there's a lot of nuance actually in both horses and fantasy football, which is why you guys are like all like, abandoning horse racing, because this game is like, got got so much like depth and social into it. But I'm competing against a lot of like 60-year-olds, and you guys are also competing against a lot of 60-year-olds, which is fun. So not to say that 60-year-olds, yeah, and not to say that 60-year-olds are not smart and great. And I've got a lot of older friends, and I think
catching some strays here, yeah.
But when we go to the FFPC where we met, a couple years ago, it's like you go there and you're like, these guys are homers, and it's like
totally
that's cool, but
they're literally wearing jerseys. Yeah,
and they're smart and they do well.
Yeah.
And I'm not. But again, we know we have an edge, and it's how big of an edge when you play these games. It's hard, and that's why I think we have to go to extremes and be contrarian, just like with horses, but to some extent. And that's why instead of betting. That's why when I think Leone was talking about the ADP not mattering later, it's pretty obvious. But what if a guy drops 20 spots or so, it starts getting interesting. But I want to be right on, calls only taking half the field in rounds 4, 5, and 6, and living and die on some of these guys like Pearsall and Amika and
the high conviction stuff, not the low conviction stuff.
Yeah, and it's I mean it makes sense.
That makes sense. Yeah,
I mean it's. Any other big calls before we dash here? Anything else that you're you have anything else that you're really predicting through the crystal ball?
Let me pull up. Let me see if there's anything that I'm drafting a ton of that I haven't mentioned yet.
I think it's also fun to look at the cliffs too. You guys know the cliffs. We know the cliffs. That's why I needed two running backs before round 6 or 7 here. It's it starts to get gross, and so everything is contingent upon that lowest common denominator. So there's that structure that also ends up, forcing me to make some decisions on guys.
Yeah, I mean, I like the elite tight ends a lot this year. I think McBride, Kittle, and Bowers are all very strong picks, and that's another way you can have if you have one of those guys and they spike, because tight end is such a difficult position to actually get points into. Mm-hmm. They're not going to win. No one can win you a week exactly, but they can go a long way to winning you a week. And I have Bowers. I'm overweight on all 3 guys, and I've got them paired with a variety of guys. So if it's Kittle, Kittle's who you need. Kittle was on the team I won with in 2022. Mm-hmm. He didn't do well in the final, but no tight end did well in the final. Right. So it didn't matter. But Kittle got me through. He got through a team that had Eckler, where Jefferson was the chalk. So these tight ends have the ability to get through non-chalk pieces into the final. It's one of the reasons I really like them. And then obviously they can show up as non-chalk pieces and crush in the final too. So the kind of the volatility and the ceiling that these 3 guys provide. I think Kittle's probably, for that argument, Kittle's probably the strongest of the 3, because the other 2 will be so much more consistent, I think.
Mm-hmm. Can you mentioned this about the idea of seeing your uniqueness in your build? Could you right now build just ask a query like Fantasy Mojo did or whatever? You can just put in 5 guys and see how many people have our team right now. Is that something that you can do on the fly, or is it just something that they dump?
I can't do that on the fly. And I think Spike Week would be the place to go for that. And then I'm not sure if DraftKings has released additional data past the first time. So yeah, but they did release through part of this year, they released the actual draft data. So you could go see how common is this combination through 5 rounds or whatever. That is possible.
I would love to do that with you, or definitely I'll look at that that software, because I'm just curious in my thinking, right? Because when I say that how many people might have a Puka Bucky combo, I'm making a kind of a bold, kind of ignorant hypothesis, but it may be better or maybe worse than I think. And I think that's helpful to think through again, because that's what all these guys do in the lottery. There's a guy I met in Vegas who's betting $500 million on horses, and he literally goes into these lotteries and he'll bet tens of millions of dollars in lottery combinations when there's a carryover, or when there's enough money. And what he ends up doing is he ends up not betting any birthday combinations, and he just buys everything else up. It's like simple as that. And he literally, the guy just won. He won the one in Texas for like 150 million, I think.
That's hilarious. Wow.
Balls.
I mean, that's a good edge. Yeah. You're competing against fewer people. If you win, you're going to win the money.
I mean, it's at that point, it's just, yeah, bankroll, but math, but yeah, it's just,
yeah,
that's way, I don't really get the joy. I mean, I would, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Well, but it's pretty fun though, when you make calls and you go, and like I said, seeing the future is so fun. And that's why I love these type of intellectual puzzles, but
yeah,
like
for sure.
with horses, but being bold and being right is cool. Like if you're right about, McBride and Bowers, cool. That's cool. You're right. But like being right about somebody like, even with Silva and Gibbs, or, me and Puka, or you and Ladd, or whomever, it's like, it's just nice to be able to like see something that other people don't see, but also not get too in your ego of trying to like flex. Oh my God, I saw this,
Yeah. Well, I think Bauer should be probably at the 110. So I'll take seeing something people didn't see if I win with him in the late second. The Puka Bucky 1.9% on DraftKings per tis the season. So
see, look at, so that's okay. So that's a lot higher than I would have expected.
Yeah, it's not, I guess, because probably people were reaching on Bucky a little. They're like Puka 109, 110, then reach for Bucky.
Can you do the combo Puka Irving to Higgins to see it?
You said that isn't old data, so
yeah, even if it's old, just
that is old data. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, maybe because my hypothesis was like 1 out of 100 times 1 out of 12. It would have been more like 1 out of 1,000, and it's actually more like 1 out of 50, which is kind of gross. So I want to see a bigger spread based on that. But like I said, the
Higgins would definitely cut it.
Yeah,
I think Higgins would cut it a lot.
Yeah, because now
it's on the other side of the board.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and that's
Higgins has cut that,
and that could be a math. Yeah, it could go to 1 out of 10,000 or something like that.
For sure.
Okay.
Anything you want to shout out before we get out of here?
No, man. I'm off to my I don't know, over 10 Burning Mans in a couple of days.
Nice.
And it'll be fun to see if there's any like slappies with Starlink out there trying to draft.
Yeah, the slow drafts don't. Yeah, make sure you get your slow drafts finished up because they're going to 4 hours on Thursday. So Burning Man and slow drafts don't mix.
Some people might do some gummies and get some extra downloads out there. So.
Doesn't that kind of go against the ethos of the festival a little bit? If you're
absolutely
you're searching for signal to get
no, that's forbidden. That would be frowned upon. But yeah, no. If you guys want next time, you guys aren't going to go to FFPC, but we'll link up. We'll see how the season's going and stuff. Maybe we can.
Sounds good, man. Sounds good. If you're watching and you want to take advantage of a DraftKings offer right now, the QR code here, you can get a $20 bonus ticket to the tournament we just played. You got to enter the tournament, and then you'll be eligible for the bonus ticket. That's for everybody who plays on DraftKings. If you're a Sidekick subscriber at Legendary Upside, you can also get a $20 bonus ticket as well. Check that out at legendaryupside.com/perks. Check out the Sidekick, legendaryupside.com/sidekick. We're going to have a bunch of content rolling out on the site this week, including my legendary running back article, which I'm hoping to get out by Saturday morning at the latest. But yeah, thanks for watching. I'll be back here tomorrow with Davis Maddock doing another DraftKings stream as part of DK Best Ball Week and being a DK partner. But we're going to get out of here. Thanks again.